After that intermission, we have returned for the upper bracket finals. It is Froyotech versus Leica G6. You're watching RGL Invite 6's Season 17 upper bracket final. This is the last match of the day, and the winner will move on to the grand finals with a one-map advantage in it, while the loser will go down to the lowers and play in the semis tomorrow versus the winners of Franz J versus Jiminy. TC, we saw a hard-fought match from G6 this time, but it's only going to get harder. This time around, Froyotech, they're undefeated, the #1 seed, have a lot of plays in their playbook for the most part on top of the general skill level of the team, and it's going to be a hard match, but if anyone were to do it, it would likely be G6. The question is, though, will they, not can they?
Yeah, that's going to be a very big question that hopefully G6 are going to be able to answer with a smile on their face. Froyotech, like you said, they've looked so good throughout this season, being undefeated, and it's never really seemed like that has maybe kind of fallen into question. Like, it doesn't seem like there's been able to be anyone really challenging them to take away that spot. The only person really has been Jiminy on some of the Gully Wash matches, but aside from that, Froyotech have basically looked unstoppable, and their first playoffs game against Jiminy didn't really give anyone too much hope. Product was essentially kind of a roll for Freyo 4-0, and then the Metalworks game was a bit closer, but aside from that, they haven't had too many close battles, and against G6 specifically, it's been pretty easy going. I mean, I think both the matches were like 5-1 in Freyotech's favor, which, considering, obviously G6, they to their own admittal, they've been taking this season a bit easier. They're gonna wait until LAN gets in, then they're really gonna start to prep up, but still, I mean, it's not a good look losing both maps in the regular season, and now we go in, first time these teams play against each other in playoffs. It's a really up in the air, especially when you consider G6. They've got Jay instead of Caps just for today, hopefully, if Caps can get his internet sorted, and also something that may not be fixed by tomorrow, bot mode being under the weather. He's still playing, and he was still able to do perfectly fine, honestly, in the first matchup against a Franz J, but like you said, Froyotech, a lot harder competition.
Yeah, and at some point, fatigue might kick in too, so you got to keep that in mind, not just for him, but for all the players as well. For the overall G6 roster, you have Bot Mode and Jay on Scout, Soapy and Kobe on Soldier, Logan on Demo, and Howard on Medic.
Yep, and then over on Froyotech, you are going to have Banny and Brandslam as your two scouts, Laz and Patty as the soldier duo, Habib on Demo, and Hubada over on Medic. And Froyotech kind of becoming a little bit of a new, honestly feels like a kind of a classic Froyotech roster at this point, which is weird to say because, Brandslam and Laz on Witness Gaming for how long? It's one of those cases where you kind of think like, oh, it'll be, hell will, become cold before Brandslam, plays on Froyotech, or same thing with Laz. I don't know how many times Laz has played against Froyotech and all the different Ascent, Witness Gaming rosters that he's been a part of, but now he's on Froyotech. Both of them are on Froyotech, and they're just making it look so seamless, so easy. And that's kind of what Froyotech has historically been. It's kind of been a grouping of arguably the best players in the North American scene. And so far, they've been able to live up to that expectation beautifully.
Yep, they're definitely the favorites going into this, as stated before. But even though G6, they had a rough road in the regular season, they're starting to turn up a little bit. They also had a rough road versus Franz J, and they came up tonight despite all the setbacks they had personally within their team and were able to turn things around and come up to the upper bracket. So who's to say this wouldn't be the same? You do have the map pool to keep things in mind, though. It's going to be a bit tricky when it comes to the picks and bans. Before, you had 3 maps to whittle away, and you'd both kind of find a middle ground of a map that both teams are kind of okay playing. But now you can only eliminate one. You can see them on the screen right now. Bagel and Sultry once again. Deja Vu taken out of the pool. Bagel, a map that G6 is historically very, very good on, and Freyotech not so much. While Sultry, G6, they played it. They didn't do as good as they've done in the patch. Just kind of taking it out of the pool. Freyotech, pick a class of Snakewater. I'm sure you could dig in the logs and maybe find some examples of them doing very well or G6 not doing so hot. I know they scrimmed Snakewater recently versus Franz J and didn't do too hot on it. And scrims are just scrims, but then again, you only have so much to go off of. And process, G6, they haven't. It's interesting because they picked it. It wasn't played, but they picked it last best of 3 as the third map. in the regular season, in the beginning, they lost to Franz on it pretty handily. And then at the end of the season, they almost lost to the Cell, which didn't even make playoffs at the tail end of things in week 8. So there hasn't been a crazy strong showing, or at least consistently, of them picking process and doing well. However, I do think that this kind of makes sense as a pick. We were talking about it before the cast went live on how a lot of, if you remember the last map that these two teams played was Metalworks, and a lot of G6's failures were from not being familiar with Froyotech's playbook. They didn't just play normally. Froyotech did a lot of one-off plays that on paper you could dissect and show like where the weaknesses were and how to counter them, and that they weren't bulletproof. But because G6 wasn't aware of them or used to them, especially because they scrimmed like less than all the other teams for the most part, that they just worked off the bat. And Process is definitely one of the more cookie cutter maps, and it has opportunity for them to play a map that actually shrinks Froyotech's playbook, so they're not gonna get like, from their perspective, lose to like a cheese strategy or anything like that. So that it probably kind of makes sense in that aspect on why they keep gunning for Process. And who knows, maybe we'll see something else they have up their sleeve that could ring true as why they're gunning for it so much. This playoff's just all sudden out of the blue. The rest of the band waves kind of makes sense. Freyotech, they've had some rough matches on Gully Wash, and hey, we just talked about how the Metalworks match from G6 versus Freyotech wasn't looking so hot for them, so they kind of take that out of the pool. The Freyotech Granary pick is one that hasn't really shown itself so far this season on why it would be the thing to pick, especially over other maps, perhaps maybe something like the side of Sunshine. And I guess so far Freyotech hasn't. They've been banning product for the most part. That kind of rings things away. But I guess maybe they just didn't want to play Sunshine. Either way, gonna be kind of neat if we go to Granary. Always a nice. It can be a slog to play sometimes, and it's really nice to analyze and watch. So part of me kind of hopes we get to a third map, but it all comes down to both these teams and their performance.
Yeah, it really does. One thing that I just thought of, maybe a reason why like a G6 have been favoring processes, depending on how far in advance they knew Jay coming in to replace Caps. Obviously, we've already seen how Jay has kind of impacted the game and his decision making. And if you go to something a little bit not different but unique, like Metalworks or especially Granary, or one of the other less commonly picked 5CP maps, maybe there just might be more possibility for disconnect there and how you like to play it, versus something like Process, Snakewater, Sunshine, all these maps that these guys have played so far. It might be a little bit easier for them to just give Jay some general direction of how they like to play it. They don't have to think too hard about that, and they can just focus on trying to take down Froyotech. But we're going to figure out very quickly what their game plan is for Process and Snakewater, as I think we are almost about to go live. But before we do, we didn't have an opportunity to do it last time, Jarrett, but I am going to press you right before we go live. Do you have any predictions for how this is going to go down? Do it in chat, because we've got to start really soon. I am going to say Freyotech take this 4-2.
I think that G6, despite their setbacks of you lose your main caller, got to get a sub in at the last second, even if it's Jay, who's very good. Bot mode, under the weather, arguably should probably not be playing right now and getting rest. They did pretty good last map, but I kind of think in the same vein where it's like, so far Froyotech have been on top. You gotta wait till they actually lose a map before you start betting against them. So I'm gonna say something along the lines of 5-2 in their favor. But it's not gonna be too much longer until we see what the results are going to start to be, as we are on our way to the first mid. The match has started here on Snakewater, both Doman rolling out through the saw side of things as the stickies begin to fly. All teams have arrived at mid, and the first mid is underway.
It is indeed. Bandy getting very aggressive over on high ground. Patty's just going to be bombing in immediately. Labs going in for a high bomb as everyone on G6 just walk forward, recognizing the soldier bomb. They want to get across the point as quick as they can, trying to get onto Hubba. Logan is trying to make the stickies work, but now here comes Jay. Onto Hubba, does get the med kill. Everyone else on G6 did fall, surprisingly, except for Howard, who is now running all the way back to his spawn. And a kind of really heads-up play from G6. As soon as they saw the aggressive Soldier's bomb from Froyotech, they immediately walked right across the point. They did find their man in Hubba, but they lost everyone else to do so.
Yeah, they do have the heal out to work with before the Uberat even comes into play. We got to be careful about the people hiding around corners. Patty is able to find a way behind. Overall, trading some players. Laz in the thick of it inside the lobby area, but Patty goes straight to last, is able to be blocked They go for the Hail Mary there and unable to get more than just a little bit of cap time. But bot mode tries to pressure Beeb, will get piped down with the 1-2. Has the health pack to keep him alive, but it's going to be biting up more than they could chew if he stays for much longer than this. So overall, it's a valiant effort, but doesn't get really too much there, considering Hubba wasn't really healing for that long. So they actually didn't generate any of a smaller disad from that play. They almost won the round, but at the end of the day, Uber potentially, yep, coming through the side of the kitchen area, trying to chase on one of the soldiers. Brand Slam is going to die behind Laz, and Banny did find a way to get behind, though. Hubba and Habib might get caught out, though. Jay on the prowl inside the kitchen area. One shot, two shot. Hubba's down. On Habib takes him down as well with a self-cam with the back half underway. They're getting cleaned up, though. Something with a huge bomb taking down both Banny and Laz, and it's a complete wipe for the side of Froyotech as G6, they're not even stacking the cap. They want to go ahead and launch the forward spawn. Logan got it stickied up. Anyone gonna bite? Holden W. Patty will bite the dust, instinctually walking out of spawn there. Will get sent to the grave immediately. Brand Sam back spawning as well, and G6 on a roll, but can they convert the round with this small ad they've generated for themselves? That is the question.
Yeah, luckily for Patty, by the time G6 have Uber, he should be up and in position to help try and deny this. But yeah, like G6 in a very good position to try and take this first round. Howard now getting up to 80%. They're going to be making their way into lobby, just distributing all the buffs, all the heals, getting everyone nice and ready to try and convert this push. It's going to be through Shutter, pretty standard, pretty textbook. They're going to be using it on Jay and Logan, going to be bombing in. They take down the Sentry Gun, they cross over to the left side, but Brand Slam with the headshot onto Kobe, and now it's going to be Freyotech able to come back in here. Bot mode might be caught out, just barely gets out without losing his life, and that is going to be a last push failed for G6.
Soapy. I don't even care if he gets anything. I just want to see how well this works.
My god.
I have eyes on him. Bird's eye view. They're probably gonna pop out though. He's not gonna. Oh man, he's kind of checking it. They know, but like, what do you do? You know, you're aware he exists, but they're going through cheese. Laz, he gets ornamented. They're fine for now, trying to push them out. So far, they did a pretty good job. They get the kill on the Laz, though, and Kobe going behind. Are they going to be able to block in time? Soapy bombing in. The Uber's coming out. They're trying to just chase down these players, but they've gained too much cap time, and now you have two G6 players behind. Howard left for dead. Freyotech just moving forward. They know they can outcap the two G6 players behind. All they can really do is maybe slow down Laz, but even then, it's like, I don't know. I mean, they're trying to go for the back cap here. They have some time, really fighting for it. But Freyotech has too much left alive.
They get the back cap. Someone stood off the point on Freyotech. Someone messed up, and now they're going over the last. They might be able to take this one. Oh my god! And the amazing air shot, and they get it. They just like that. Someone on Freyotech stood off the cap at the wrong point. Yeah, someone did. It went down from like 4 to 3 just a little bit, and that was all it needed.
I was about to be super embarrassed where it's like, have I just not played Snake Water in that long that my judgment on the cap time is just off? Like,
no,
sure,
you were good.
I was like, sure, it's close, but like they get the mid, but no, okay, if someone screws up, you know, by hairs, that's all it takes.
Oh my god. Well, G6, they take the first round of this upper bracket final in the most spectacular fashion I think we ever could imagine. But here comes the bombs from the Froyotech soldiers. They get onto Howard. They find their man Lab, getting that one. Everyone else on G6 barreling forward. Can they collapse onto Hubba? Hubba is going to be escorted back by Banny. He's going to have to try and do his best to protect his medic as so many G6 players try and get on, but I think he's done his job. They should be safe. They're going to wait for the respawners. In the meantime, G6 are going to capture up the point.
Yeah, it's a mid win, but it has a huge asterisk on it because you start off the game with the mid one, but you're immediately on the back foot and need to go for this fourth place. So Freyotech kept Hubba alive, just sent everyone towards Howard, collected that kill, and now find themselves moving towards Saw to try to push into mid. So far, no. Well, Kobe could maybe go for something. He's kind of weak though. It actually might just get killed, and yeah, gets bombed up. Bot mode try to go for him behind, gets killed in kitchen as well. Brand Slam will be on red HP, but will end up taking back and providing. Logan, a bit alone, is able to jump out for now. Sacrifices any real chance of having any sticky traps. So Freyotech just on the move, unafraid, knows that there's nothing really set up, and just launching themselves forward out into 2. No hesitation whatsoever, and honestly, I mean, they can make some moves right now. They can't just straight up go for an Uber unless they're really feeling ballsy, but overall, go for something at least, buy some time. They are feeling ballsy. They do have Uber though. They've used so much of this Uber to go so deep. They're causing some flashes. They lose Habib. Hubba kind of in no man's land. it's G6 Uber. Gotta make sure you don't go too far in. Gotta make sure you lock them out. They want to chase them out inside lobby area, but they find themselves on their own concrete. This heavy on the point is alone, gets killed. They're teasing it now, but they have even players. A nice sticky from side alone, able to tap down Laz. Brandsam running in, gets the kill on a Logan. Will die though, causing enough distraction to allow Hoda to leave, and Habib is out of there as well. So G6 almost bit off more than they could shoot, trying to chase extremely deep. And Froyotech, they challenged it. They went back in the last, recognizing that, hey, they're not chasing us. We have some room here, actually. But the high-risk play does not quite work out in their favor. And they're still spamming around, but with Branson and Patty still respawning, they're going to go ahead and back them, cut their losses for the most part. Until Banny arrives, and he pushes them back a bit. A little disrespect here. There's nothing inherently to push off of, but they see a little bit of room and they want to take it. Kobe getting put in the dumpster, taken out by the side of Brandslam, and Soapy, no moves to be able to initiate because of his health, so they actually just bullied them straight out through damage. There wasn't an inherent on-paper reason that was extremely great on the reason why to push there. They poked in, they saw what they saw, they got tons of good spam and just created something out of nothing, and now they're about to do it again.
Yeah, they're trying to get in here. They got the two-player advantage. They're bombing and they take down Logan and Jade. They're getting onto the point. Oh, Soapy got sent sky high. It doesn't matter. It's going to be 1-to-1 Froyotech just pushing their way in, like you said, taking all the ground that really wasn't available to them. They made it available just by getting those 2 picks and have now made it a tie game. So all eyes on this next mid.
Yeah, I think the damage on the soldiers was key, both on first on a Kobe, then on Soapy, because it prevented any sort of counter initiation to put Froyo in a little box down there in the side of lower. So they found the correct target they needed to shoot, and that's what really opened things up in hindsight. So bomb coming in, Patty onto Howard. He doesn't even get to sort, he just melts. There's a weird soldier fight happening in the corner of the lower area, and the soldiers will eventually trade, but they're trying to launch this forward. Find a way onto Hubbard, or at least someone else. Logan has picked up tons of HP and has made some room. Finds the pack. Logan gets sticky down. Kobe full send it in and gets the 1 rocket onto Hubbard. He's still alive. Gets the reload. Second rocket misses though. The bottle is out. He has it out looking for more, but no. Branson will collect that kill onto Logan. Hubbard out live throughout it all, and Froyotech takes the 3rd mid.
The soldier bombs early on these mids, it didn't work the first time. Or actually, no, it did work, but G6 were able to respond and walked forward. These past couple of times, they haven't had that opportunity. Soapy, he goes in, and he kind of had the timing, but unfortunately was not able to get any damage off onto Habada. And now Froyotech are going to be able to walk forward with Uber advantage and player advantage. They're getting it in on to lobby, and they're going to be going over through the shutter door, bombing Habib deep in. They take down the sentry gun. Banny's just going to immediately play the point, get the soldiers to bomb over towards him. Kobe's super weak in the post. They just stand on top of it. This should be it. Everyone melts, though, on Froyotech on top of the point. Soapy, he's got to hold on to it. Jay right there, they buy enough time to get the Uber. It's only Habada, and he tried to go for it, not able to make it work. Habib is on the low ground, and I was so convinced that was a round for Froyotech.
Shout out to Logan, who, even though they had 1 player down, he put up a trap on the box, and it was able to kill Brandsame, who was going to be the 2nd person to walk in on the point and start capping it after Banny had his turn. So it kind of immediately made it a 5v5 situation in the post Uber, which made it that much easier to buy time for the Uber to happen. If he doesn't get that sticky trap kill, they probably don't get the Uber in time because enough cap time just hits the deck and they end up losing. So really heads up play there, and the trap positioning works out in their favor. They find themselves with a small ad that is usable, but only so many ways to really use it. So Freyotech kind of know what's coming if it's coming at all. Trying to poke around. You see Kobe in the window just spotting around for the stickies. They gotta clear him. It's taking some time away. It's a good thing they're doing this before they actually have Uber, so they finally reach Uber now. They're ready. Logan, double sticky into the kitchen area. They're a bit split, trying to find a way on Habib. He is able to make his way out, though. Overall, no kills. It's actually the opposite way, where Soapy went extremely deep, trying to find a soldier kill of his own, and ends up just dying because there's too many people inside the saw area. Bot mode and Kobe both go for a play. It ends up being a 2-for-1 trade, which is not that worth. They get the nice pipe from Logan onto Banny. Last a little worse for wear, but Jay will get caught out. So overall, just Logan and Howard running away with no scout speed. He wants to get through cheese, but Brandsam chased him down, able to get that frag. Logan might die as well if he's not too careful, and he will get pistoled down. Brandsam on a roll right now is able to escape as well because the G6 respawners aren't quite there in time, and all the while Havada has held on to his Uber.
Now, bot mode up on Sniper, trying to nullify that, but really good position to be in for Freyotech. They're going to be able to have all the respawners. Banny a little bit slow, but they might take it in without him. Brandslam in position to go in if they want to, but seems like they are waiting. But now with Brandslam being taken down, that is going to be really, really good for like a G6. That's going to give them a lot more time to try and set things up. Even if Froyotech still go, now it's going to allow G6 to build up the sentry gun, get it to level 3, put it in a better position to accurately block the point. And Froyotech, they should have Brand Slam up and still have enough Uber to go, but it just makes it riskier and riskier.
Yeah, if they're trying to milk their way in, they're saying that Bob Mo's not going to hit a shot, hits one shot, second shot, doesn't quite work out, but overall, the force does happen. Kobe has to give up his life for it. It left Khabib kind of alone. Sophie has to be careful. He needs to be able to block the point in time, but actually going for kills, not cap time. Sophie will eventually die. He's actually butting heads with Khabib on accident, but now the cap time comes through. No sword is available. They are going to take it. Froyotech, they just corralled them inside the spawn. Didn't gun for the cap time, thought that they'd be able to get enough damage themselves, and they are correct. Not dropping a single player despite even fracturing themselves, because Khabib didn't cross with them, just stuck on his ground. Locked down the shutter. Wasn't dying to any soldier or anything like that. So overall, pretty good job. And is that a beggar's bazooka I hear? Am I on something right now? No. Sophie has a play.
Oh my God! Well, all eyes on
Anthony
Sophie Meister. It is coming straight out from Anthony. We'll see if he can have similar success. He goes high up into the sky, landing straight onto Hubada. He gets one rocket, and anyone collapse. They do find Hubada. Howard has gone down in the meantime, though, as it's just a DM fight over for the remaining scraps of this mid. Patty bombing in onto Logan, finds one Kobe, jumping around, and it seems like, again, Freyotech, they have won the mid this time, though. They have lost their medic in the chaos, and I guess you can say the beggars worked out. They've made it at least able to get onto Hubada, but they've still got a lot of ground to try and retake. They gotta clear the sticky. Don't die to it. Okay, they cleared. They should be set.
Yeah. Habib's not gonna be able to stay here for long because most of his team is rolling out, and this is a pause, and that's a dead Habib unless Sophie misses. Even if Habib surfs, the only way to surf out of this if he finesses the heck out of him and just gets into the window.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for Habib at this moment. Like you said, maybe he surfs, maybe, I don't know how many rockets Sophie has loaded, but maybe he only has one loaded. Habib tanks it, and then Brand Slam kind of wipes him up pretty easily, but even then, Jay isn't close enough to get it, but it's looking dicey for Habib unless he's able to just like instantly like two-pipe him out of nowhere, which, I mean, it is Habib. You know, we've seen more spectacular things from him in more dire scenarios, so it is not out of the question at all.
Oh, that's to get someone in the server.
Oh yeah.
And I think that is I can't tell. It might hit, it might hot, might not. Either way, I'm kind of curious what Brand Slam does, because he's obviously going to try to kill Sophie, but what happens afterwards? He backs up. I thought he might run underground or something. Either way, really nice kill from Sophie. Kind of prevents Froyotech from doing anything too aggressive. We've seen them make something out of nothing in the previous round, so can't really do that as easy this time around with no dome, man. They're trying to hold on the mid still. It's still possible, but some poking around. You actually need Banny and one of the both scouts actually inside Saw. Going crazy right now. They get Logan and Botmata. They're just running in Jay. Extremely weak. They actually have disad. I don't think they noticed though. 50% disad. Oh no, they think they do know. Oh no, they don't. They would have just Ubered in. So they're just bullying off the fact they have kills. But head Uber now. Jay hasn't gone for yet. We'll finally go for the exchange. There are some weak Froyotech players behind. They do get the flashes. That makes the Uber a bit worse, though, in terms of ending locations, but they don't have too many players on the side of G6. Able to get the one kill on the Brand Slam. Patty's not long for this one either. Laz bombing in. Gets the return kill on Kobe. Gives up his life for overall Froyotech. They've used most of what they have left in the tank here. They really need to play on the back foot, but that's not the Froyotech we know and love. They are staying inside the side area. Not where you expect a team to be, and maybe using that to their advantage. This is a really awkward fight. Banning gonna die, though. Habib, Hubada, in no man's land. This high-risk, high-reward play that worked out previously is not going to work out at the end of the day. I think they hoped to stay in an awkward spot and get like a strange kill, like a what are they doing there type of kills, but they just find a blobbed up team and their whole team pays the price for it. You see these high risk, high reward plays work out so often for their team, but they're only human. There's sometimes where all it is a full wipe, and that was Patty crashing and rejoining the game, question mark? That's the pause.
That is the pause. Banny is over in the fourth spawn. He gets taken down. Nice bomb from Kobe to deny him the opportunity to get the headshot onto Howard. So G6, they've got full Uber advantage. Hubba is only at 30%, not anywhere close, as Patty might fall over and lower is going to. The Uber is out. Banny not respawned yet, so it's going to be a two-player advantage. They're going to have to take down the Centric Gun Labs bombing to try and block the point. He gets onto Logan, doing a lot of damage, not enough to find the kill. G6 have so much great positioning at the moment. They're getting onto the point. Jay just standing on top of it. Freyotech, they can't block it. They make it a 2-2 tie game.
Yeah, that kill on a Banny is pretty huge because you only have, you have your engineer, but then you don't have the sniper to prevent milking. You don't have the scout speed to rotate your medic around to get out of the shutters properly or fast enough. And it just makes things that much harder being down a person there. So pretty simple last push coming from the side of G6, tying up the game 2-2. Honestly, pretty close Snakewater game so far, but we're only halfway through the amount of time allotted, plus there's infinite overtime, so who knows what will happen in the future. How about on the mid going away so far? Freyotech has been really sending it, same for the side of G6, and overall, it's actually going to be counter initiation from the soldiers trying to put Kobe in a little box, and a roller will connect and allow him to die. They're running forward now. Only 2 scouts left alive. Jay, being the last one, might be able to get one more on his way out. Nope, just Laz. And overall, sacrificing both the soldiers in a way that was just mostly counter-initiation focused and prevented G6 from really doing much at all. So overall, really good job keeping most of their team alive. And you see Habib going for the forward spawn camp. They're probably not going to get anything here because it's a one-way window. They can kind of see them if they, went out that way. But they're all safe and sound for now. They're getting the gun built up. Jay respawn on sniper to prevent anyone spamming from drop down or anything like that, or milking through the right-hand side, which they did previously from the defender's perspective. But it's still full ad for Froyotech, so it's not the best of situations. So it's looking like Shutter might be the thing for them for the most part. And they're getting buffed up, and they're getting ready to go.
Yeah, here comes the Uber from Froyotech to try to make this a 3-2 game. They take down with Centric Gun Bandy, trying to play the point a little bit, doing a lot of damage on the soldier. Soapy just bombing around, trying to buy as much time as possible. Finally does go down, and Howard not close enough to Uber to have it, only at 70%. A nice bomb coming in from Laz onto Logan. Everyone from Froyotech just stands on top of the point, and they are successful. They convert it 3-2, and it's just very back and forth, but what seems to be consistent is Froyotech having a much better time at the mids. Even if G6 do respond at the worst for Froyotech, it's even. Both medics die, and Froyotech is still in control of the point.
Yeah, I think Froyotech has kind of recognized that a lot of this hinges on G6's soldiers and how much success they actually find. So they did a really good job of kind of preventing them from getting on their own medic, and it's kind of showed with how passive Havada has played previously as well to make sure that he's able to get out into other mids. But you see some Froyotech members in the opposing lower, and once again, you take out a soldier, and that's pretty much it. Botmo tries to run forward as a distraction because he was already pretty much in. Kobe maybe will get one on his way out. No, spread the damage. So overall, they've done a pretty good job of finding multiple different avenues to eliminate the soldiers out of the equation. First it was Kobe in the high ground, then it was Sophie in lower. But Jay gets the kill on Habib. Bransam dying as well, and they might have overstayed their welcome. Laz will have to jump away, kind of separated from his team. Jay really wants his kill. It's a distraction, but alone? Oh no, the Uber comes out. Okay, I thought Howard being alone was going to be really bad, but I mean, he does indeed have the Uber to go ahead and force, so Patty's successful there. And Freyotech, I mean, they got the force. They gave up a lot for it, though. G6 can't be too mad. They have an opportunity to go and get a force themselves. Just make sure you don't accidentally run into this Uber.
Yeah, they get another pick onto Patty, traded out almost immediately. Hubada with the arrow kill to avenge his fallen soldier. They do have Soapy Master over in kitchen, has been spotted out though, and is going to be able to trade it with Banny. Not too bad for G6, all things considering. They're just going to have to back up though, because Freyotech still have a 100% Uber to use at a moment's notice. They're going to be coming in through Saw. Everyone on G6 spots them. They're going to back up. They don't want to be caught by this Grand Slam Uber. Kobe bombs and does get the force out. Seems like no one else should be caught out by this Uber, and G6, they want to try and refight this. Everyone from Froyotech backing up. Kobe is in lower. Maybe he could have gone for the wrap. Laz might be caught out. Is going to be taken down. Nice pick from Jay. And G6, they could walk forward here. They've got Uber advantage. They got player advantage. They're over and lower, but they're taking some time. And with Kobe going down, that might slow them down just a little bit.
Yeah, Grand Slam getting dropped there was huge, and immediately Froyotech had to hightail it out of there. The Kobe kill does help things, slows it down. Kind of have to wait at least a little bit for their Uber to instead of just dry pushing right off the bat. They've shown themselves in Saw. Grand Slam in kitchen, gonna take one with bot mode. A little bit awkward, will indeed be a 1-for-1 trade, so if he comes to the rescue. Uber's over at this point now. Jay, kind of aggressive, needs to, finds Habib kind of alone because of the down, maybe. The bottom so healthy. Getting Patty as well. G6 have kind of wiping the floor for the most part, even with a slow start, but they've given up both their scouts for it. Soapy, bit of distraction behind, making them turn around. Hubba a bit alone, no one's inside. Kitchen with him, he does a loop around, but the final weapon has come through, but the air
Howard
commits. He's definitely gonna die for this, but overall make sure the medic does indeed reach the grave. His bot mode, the only one left alive, is a respawner, and their push into mid does indeed fail, but there's only so many Freyotech members that can actually get here onto 2. Bot mode definitely trying to slow things down, knowing that Jay is coming soon as well. They have a bit of a respawn advantage to get here, but bot mode's early death there, really good draw from Laz. That kind of puts a nail in the coffin of any attempt to just try to run through before Froyotech would be able to get all the respawners and all their heals there, especially with the 4s they've gained from the completed cap. So I'll have to set up for last. Get the gun up at some point. It is relatively even. It's 10% ad. We've seen Froyotech take 10% ads before. But either way, whether it's a stalemate or disad, the gun is known to be extremely strong on Snakewater. Very difficult to put up. You can see bot mode setting it up right now near the spawn. Wants to get it up to level 3. Both teams building it up. Honestly, can't make a call on whether or not Froyotech will use it. I've tried it in this situation before and been wrong. Kind of looks like they want to. And we'll see the dot push.
We'll see. It seems like they are going to go for it. Such a slight ad. Are they going to be able to convert it? They take down the sentry gun Fanny. Already trying to play the point. The sticky's still there. And Howard already has the Uber. So now are they going to be able to play the post fight a lot better? The Uber comes out from G6, just cleaning house at the moment. Everyone so weak on Froyotech. Laz is going to have to jump out to safety. Fanny caught in a 1v1 over and lower versus bot mode. Bot mode. He is going to be able to win that, and G6 going to be able to successfully push out onto the second. One of those other high risk, high reward scenarios that you're talking about, Jared, and once again, not working out too well for Freya.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make any mistakes if you do something like that, and Hubba, I think, accidentally flashed Fanny one too many times. That prevented the cap time from coming through and allowed them to get the Uber, but Howard and Jay falling. I mean, they get Khabib as a consolation prize, but that's not enough. They need more. Hubba still pretty healthy. Botmo trying to get one final kill, and Sophie as well. Might get meleeed? No.
Oh.
But still dies nonetheless, so Freyotech kind of wiped it for with them. To be being the only sacrificial lamb is just when G6 thought they'd be getting their way out of last, they're barely going to get an attempt to even really hold it. They're just respawning, they're getting spawn camped a bit, and it's capped up, and Froyotech takes another round, 4-2. Leading a potential match point here for the first match. There's still plenty of time for infinite overtime, but all that will not matter if Froyotech has a strong start on this next mid.
The mids have been looking really, really good for Froyotech basically every single time. Even the times that G6 technically captured up first, it's usually because Howard has gone down and Hubba stays alive. They just back out to keep their Uber advantage, and we've seen that they've been able to work that all the way to G6's side of the map and be able to convert with it. Now going in onto another mid, all eyes on the soldiers. Sophie and Kobe gonna be bombing in, this time very aggressive. They are able to find Hubba, but they lose 2 for it now. They have to make sure they keep Howard alive. They're instantly backing up. They might lose Logan. They do lose Logan. You can see Patty already bombing in to try and get in onto Howard. Gets denied pretty well. The scouts doing their job, and Jay and Botmo just cleaning house at the moment. And it's only going to be Habib. He bombs back to try and meet up with the respawners, and that is going to be a very good mid lane for like it just says.
Yep, really good defense there. I mean, you kind of have to either go all in or set up on mid, and the call is to go all in. They thought they could catch them out. They got pretty close to, putting some hurt on them, but at the end of the day, the heals were a bit too much, weren't able to get anything. And Kobe will find a trap with his face, gets dead on. Brand Sam Sniper is a huge threat here, and they have one less order to buy some room. Laz gonna go forward, might actually die. He's safe for now, but the Uber does indeed come out. Patty in the thick of it, kind of ignored for now. They go to the air shot, misses, but Habib will not be long for this world to get spin up, and Patty will finally die to Soapy, who stayed by the cheese area to make sure he does indeed fall. So overall, getting 2 kills there means it is time, probably for some sort of dry fight. They need to heal up though, and this window is dwindling. Only 30% more Uber until Hubba is actually able to get his Uber in time, and the J death on entry does not bode well for them. Sophie will not take out Laz, just barely alive, trying to dodge the rollers, ends up dodging the arrows, but this Uber will eventually come from the side of Freyotech. But all the while, the scuffle is still happening. Logan overall with Brand Slam being a trade means no demo man. Easy walk up the side of Freyotech. Kobe in a bit of an awkward situation gets cleaned up, and not really too much left for G6 to do here on 2. They have bought some time, they've bought some Uber, it's getting smaller and smaller, but Freyotech, we just saw them try to take a 10 ad push. They don't care. 25, that's enough for them, especially with the Kobe kill applying much less pressure to the door they choose to decide to go through, which is lower, and we'll see how this mid push goes.
We'll have to see as they're making their way in there. are going to be able to get Uber on the side of G6 to try and defend here. They take down Patty. The Ubers have been used, looking a lot better actually for Leica G6. They've got the player advantage. They're going to be bombing in super deep and trying to get on these escaping Froyotech players. They take care of a Banny who was able to get actually no one, sorry, with that, and it's going to be a little bit unfortunate there, but it's going to be player advantage for Leica G6. They force Laz all the way back. He just barely lives, jumping out to safety, and it's going to be G6 on second. Basically, even Ubers, Froyotech wanting to try and refight this. Brand Slam peeking it, so is Habib over onto the bridge. They are not going to do it. I think the call has been made. They're just going to back up onto last. No reason to go for something that risky, even for Froyotech, as they are up 4-2, and they're just going to sit on last and put the pressure on G6 to try and break into what is maybe one of the hardest lasts in the game.
Yeah, they were poking around because they knew that Kobe and Soapy were rolling out, so they wouldn't be there to apply pressure to the actual doors, and maybe that could net to some sort of kill, but they're probably opting for just the mid-reset, or just the safer route. But Soapy tries to skip in, unsuccessful. Bottom will sack with him. Overall, just a normal two-man here. Patty going in off the cuff as soon as it starts happening, gets enough damage on Howard to get this force, so immediately Freyotech find an avenue to find a way out of last. And they're actually making the moves now while the G6 players are still dead. Getting out onto Bats, trying to milk their way through Laz on the passive side to make sure no one goes to the back cab. With 2 already dead, it's not likely for that to happen unless it happens extremely late, and G6 pretty much already all out of there. Soapy's finally here on the side of the saw, but can't even make his way into Cheese because he'd be spotted too early. So full Uber ad from Froyotech and friends in the lower area, which is the door they've been partial to for a long while, but bot mode has spotted it early, so they just rip it straight through. Habib, super deep inside the kitchen area, wants to be able to find a way into Jay. A bit alone, might be fighting more than he can and will indeed die. Branson comes to try to help him, but is a bit distracted, and Patty will end up dying on the back lines. One of the scouts is not long for this world either. Fanny falling, Laz falling. Froyotech, the pinnacle of a team where they either completely wipe the opposing team or they completely wipe themselves. How about this small disconnect of not being on Brand Slam for just 2 seconds nets them both dead in the lower area below the bridge. And that's a long respawn timer to sit through. The only saving grace is G6 had to give up a lot of players themselves, so they do have a small amount of time to go ahead and get set up in some degree. They can get the engineer, they can get their buffs, but it's not looking too good for their lead, as G6 have a pretty ample opportunity to go ahead and go for a last push here, but it's nothing is guaranteed in this world, and there's still some room for Freyotech to hold on.
There is still some good room for Freyotech. Some of that being Brand Slam up on Sniper, looking over towards the shutter door, which is where you'd expect the push to come from. And he'd be right, because that is where G6 are going to be using in on Jay and Logan, immediately crossing over. They take down the Sentry gun. Laz is going to be shot out of the sky. Nice tickets from Logan to collect that one. They have immediately lost one of their own in bot mode, and now they're trying to bomb across, but the Heavy just shutting down all aerial momentum. Here comes Kobe onto the Heavy, doing a lot of damage, but just for pipes and stickies, the damage coming out from Freyotech is too great for G6 to handle. Howard just going to barely be escaping with the help of Soapy, and Freyotech being able to hold on to their last point and immediately trying to get on to second.
Yeah, Logan just straight up didn't see the Heavy, got way too aggressive and got mowed down for the most part, so it's going to be the end of things there. Patty almost dying, 4 HP, 3 more than you need. They're fine for now. Hubba still retaining his Uber, at least leaving one on the cap. They're actually just letting Branson and Patty go ahead and finish it up as they move towards lower. Once again, their favorite door so far this series actually go towards the kitchen side. Sticky's dead, milking it through at least for now. They will find Kobe popping through, chasing down to the opposing team's kitchen. They're full sending their entire team. They're so hot. Jay, Howard trying to escape. Habib on the chase, gets Howard and Jay falling as well. I mean, bot mode, Jay will get the kill on Habib, but overall, it's just Kobe in the back line. Patty's kind of hurt, doesn't really want to travel around too much and just end up dying on accident. He's going to full send, messes up his jump a bit, has to jump away. We'll just exist back there for a little while, and Froyotech full steam ahead with Uber, catching them like we haven't seen in a while. And finding themselves a pretty good Uber advantage to kind of tie things up. A Soapy could be the thing that evens it out. One nice rocket, 2. Kobe, who's existed all around behind. The final rocket will indeed connect, and it's a bit of a total flip around here. They're looking so dominant before, and now it just looks like they're just a full-on feed mode salvage, and it does not work out. What a roller coaster from immediate success just to complete collapse as G6 just punch back, and no one will die to the Logan forward spawn camp here this time around, but once again, another opportunity for G6 to try to go ahead and even things up with 1 minute till even overtime.
So it's going to be a 5-something game. I mean, we already knew that when Freyotech got 4 rounds, but like you said, continuous overtime is knocking on the door. G6 are also knocking on the door with this Uber advantage. They don't have it just quite yet, but they're going to have it soon. They're going to be taking it in through the right. Same thing again. Hopefully this time they're going to have a little bit more success than they have had in the previous times. They're going to be bombing in Logan. They take down... Actually, they don't take the sentry gun. It's over on the point. They do manage to finally find it. They haven't really rotated, and now it seems like the collapse coming in from Froyotech is really, really good. They're bombing in onto the medic. They haven't been able to find anyone, and Howard is over in the low ground just trying to get out. Branson finds one onto Logan. Howard should be caught here. Now in 1v1 Jay, they're coming in from behind. Actually, what? How does he stay alive there? No, finally they take him down, and it is going to be Freyotech holding on to their last J. The respawner coming up, trying to see if he can do anything. He's just taking too much damage, but might be distracting for bot mode to get in onto Habib. Tries to go for it, but Habib protects himself. The soldiers now going for Habib. They really want this demo man. He finally does go down, and Logan gets another, but I don't think that's going to stop Freyotech from getting onto the second point. Logan is still spamming it just a little bit, but the heals are here. That hasn't stopped Freyotech from having Uber add in. Seems like they want to push in onto middle.
Yeah, gotta have some patience at least a little bit though, because they need all the respawners to at least kind of be close enough, so they are gonna, spend a little bit of time sitting around. But G6, they're kind of expecting to push sauce. They're just going lower early. Mind the disad though, the Uber. Yeah, they misjudged how fast Froyotech were gonna be with that push. They really thought they were gonna disrespect, push in while they were still down people, go through saw. And they spotted them around it, and they'll just go through lower. They'll wrap with their whole team, but no, Froyotech was having a little bit of patience there. They were waiting for Habib, and I think it was Banny as well, which kind of makes sense why you would wait for them. And overall, they're close enough to the train to just kind of pop out into grass and kind of wipe them. So G6, it was their turn to go for a really high-risk play. You can see how that kind of worked out for them. They're not really in a good position to kind of defend too at all. I mean, they could kind of try, but they're down a person. They barely have enough positioning here. They'd be putting it all on the wire, and that helps things a bit, but their positioning isn't that great to immediately bust out. So, you don't want to just lose in this moment, and then that's it, and Freyotech take the map. So, back to last they go. Jay's on sentry gun duty. Disad up for them, and have a little bit of time to wait, because Pransam needs to spawn, then they'll go. But it's looking like they might try to go in this right-hand side from the defender's perspective, banking on the fact there's no sniper, and there isn't one for now. They're kind of just walking in. One of these soldiers has to give up some HP, and bot mode has swapped out on the sniper to kind of put a pin on things, at least potentially. They've made a little bit of progress, buying room, but not so much in the time department. They're kind of just acting as if it was even. Maybe they forgot they had adder, they're taking the slow, methodical route. But so far, I mean, they bought a whole lot of room in a pretty good stalemate situation, I suppose, if you look at it that way. They have control over the truck. They've taken over at a complete one half the map. They don't have access to a sniper, though. They really got to go for something. Teasing the point, bring one of the soldiers over. Overall 1-4-1 trade inside of the soldiers. Kobe trying to get the kill on the Banny. They're running forward now. They want to get both these scouts over the truck area, and they're both relatively weak. Banny might fall. He's getting beamed for now. Howard extremely aggressive. Might just go for the fourth. They will indeed get this fourth out at last. Giving up his life. Overall in exchange. Flashing on one of the scouts. Branson just running towards the point. They want to end this Uber extremely aggressively. Bot mode. We're running towards Habib, but we'll have to back up, make sure this is defended. Logan, bit alone, has Jay kind of with him. Howard out in no man's land. Will die. They get scattered on by the side of Branson. They're over by the shutting out. Habib running away all alone despite having his heal advantage. Rotating around to the other side where the other explosive classes are. Branson just tying him up all the wire while Banny will fall, but G6 only 2 left alive. No heals remain because of Howard's death and the long con. Froyotech's play was slow and methodical, and honestly, there was a point too where it wasn't quite sure what their game plan was going to be, but in the heat of the moment, everything kind of came together. The pieces of the puzzle all finally fit, and they take the final round, leading to a 5-2 Snakewater game.
5-2 from Froyotech, looking really, really dominant and really, really in control for most of that, all throughout the game. I mean, that last push as well, they were, like you said, it got a little bit dicey. There may be opportunities for G6 to cut back into it, but Froyotech just kind of had them on the ropes basically the whole entire time, and they walk away with a 5-2 scoreline. I think exactly what you predicted, Jared. I don't know if you put any channel points on it, but if you did, you would have maybe potentially won. Yeah, you would have won big, but Froyotech showing why it was their map pick, and I think a lot of it, obviously they played well on every single part of the map, but the mid fights, they were really, really good. Seemed like they had a game plan almost every single time, and even when G6 were able to get onto Hubada, and kind of find their man that way, Howard was usually always dead as well. I think there was really only one mid I can think of. I think it was the last one where G6 won it, and they were able to also keep their medic alive and kill the enemy medic. didn't seem like it happened too much. So when you're constantly putting yourself on the back foot like that, it just makes it so much harder to play the game, really.
I don't even know. Was there even a mid where G6 won it normally? Like, there were plenty of mids where, like, oh, kill the mid and get out, and then we'll push it later. Where they were on both sides of that coin, but I don't know if they straight up, like, won a mid where it's like, yeah, we killed most of them and we're just moving forward. If there was, it was maybe a one-off out of 7 mids. So, I think the way Froyotech was playing overall in the transitional part of the game was very hot and cold. We saw plenty of, their high-risk plays just work out monumentally, and other times it extremely fell flat and they wiped their entire team, and that allowed G6 some breathing room. But, we always talk about the mids, the classic case of, it's cool if you go back and forth with the team over the course of like 3 points, but it's really bad if you start on your own half of the map, So, at the end of the day, that's definitely a contributing factor and one of the main things you kind of look towards. But I'm kind of curious how process is going to go. I said it before, G6, there isn't really a historical reason that's extremely apparent on why they would pick it per se, based off of the regular season results. They picked it as a third map in the previous BO3, wasn't played. They're picking it this time. We can only assume they got something cooking up for us. I still subscribe to the idea that it kind of shrinks Freyotech's, like, not cheese, but like their playbook, I guess, so you don't get wrapped or things like that as easy. But then again, they also have less plays of their own to do on a map like this, so it's much more straightforward. So I'm kind of curious how the gameplay kind of shifts. And honestly, considering we have plenty of sniper players on both these teams, I'm kind of curious if you see more of that in general compared to Snake as well.
Yeah, I think it was actually Jay Yunpei back when he was on Freyotech that ran sniper to mid at some LAN. It might have been against like a G6, and he just absolutely dominated on it. And I mean, you got Jay, you got Bot Mode, you got Brand Slam, you got Banny as well. Like you said, just so many snipers in the server and process, one of the most sniper-friendly maps in the pool. So I would be very surprised if we don't see any, maybe not any to mid, but definitely at least from a second to last stalemate, I'm 100% certain we'll see some. But yeah, Froyotech just having a lot better mids, and then like you said, kind of the high risk, high reward situation. We did see some times where they were at risk and they got punished because of it. But even in those times, it seemed like G6 weren't able to go the distance while Froyotech were. And Froyotech were able to get more ground with fewer mistakes from G6, and G6 weren't able to do the same to Froyotech. They weren't able to get as much ground, even when Froyotech maybe potentially made bigger mistakes from their playstyle. So that's something G6 are going to have to try and figure out, or maybe, try and be a little bit more advantageous and kind of punish Froyotech a little bit more, or just try and minimize their own mistakes. But like you said, heading into process, it might be a similar thing. It might be the mids from like a G6. Maybe they've really tried to craft something and kind of guarantee themselves an opportunity to win every single mid and get themselves on the enemy team's half to start each round.
Yep. You see the predictions running for now, so you can kind of put your 2 cents in on what you think is going to happen. Personally, I think I still kind of have to subscribe to the idea, not only because I'm unsure exactly G6's thought process on this map. It's not to say that it's bad, but it's just not obvious. It's just hard right now to bet against Froyo until you actually get to a point where they're losing in a match scenario. And so far, we haven't seen that. We've seen, some rounds be taken, but that's also not because they get, super outplayed. You can see it yourself. They go for these plays and then they screw up and get wiped, and they kind of hand a round on a silver platter occasionally, or if it's not a round, at least a couple points. So a lot of map control, and they kind of get set back to the point where they're on their own last. But that's less of an opponent doing extremely good and more them kind of just screwing up a little bit with their play style they're playing. So I think I have to say kind of maybe a 5-1 personally in Froyotech's favor. G6 could do it. They could, pull out all the stops and do really good on this map, but it's just hard for that to be my leading assumption.
I would have to agree with you. Even though this is G6's map pick, it is very hard to bet against Freyotech, really, in almost any scenario. Even when they are losing, you just kind of assume, they've got the plot armor, they've got VA, the movie revolves around them. They're going to come out as the winners at the end of the day. And, we've seen that so many times, and I'm going to have to agree with you. I think Freyotech are going to win this. I'll say G6 do a little bit better, maybe because it's their map pick, maybe because they've been able to been given a map and have a bit more time to adapt. I'll say 5-3, but I still think Froyotech are just gonna be a little bit too much to handle for like a G6, because like you said, the rounds that they got really just kind of mistakes from Froyotech, like the first round of the game, the back cap, that was something that really Froyotech should not have lost. They should have captured up that midpoint, but someone just stood off of it, maybe not expecting the second to capture up that fast, and then all of a sudden they get pushed all the way back to their last. They lose the DM fight, it happens, and then that's G6's first round. So I think G6 either need to go for more chaotic plays like that, or they've got to come into this with a really good strategy to shut down Freyotech's playstyle, more than just allowing Freyotech to make their own mistakes.
Yeah. That also kind of leads me to like the playbook thing, like I said. If you shrink their playbook, there's less on the field for you to try to have to deal with. So, you know, makes it a bit easier kind of be shutting that down, whether it's through controlling or chaos. But the sniper could, you know, be a thorn on their side, because shutting down the sniper is the way to victory is easier said than done. So I'm kind of curious if we'll get to see that too much. But see, first mid kicking off, immediately Patty going behind the enemy team IT. No one's biting for now. He's kind of playing it slow. He's staying on the same side of things, able to bust out the same door. Laz initiating in, finding a way on one of the scouts, a bit of distraction, able to take down one of the scouts, spot mode, falling to the grave. Counter initiation from Kobe, able to get a couple Froyotech kills. Freyotech, they've put a lot of strength into trying to get really aggressive onto some of these flank members, but the arrow onto Howard is going to be the extremely lethal thing. He needs his health pack, trying to dodge the best he can. Bandy, a little bit aggressive, dodging a lot of damage for now. Still wants to kind of fight at least a little bit, but the nice pipe from Habib onto Jay will kind of even things out a bit. But Kobe immediately thwarted, got some damage on the Hubada, but oh, Logan popped up into there. These things are not looking too good. So the little things right at the tail end of it, when they were looking pretty out of it, Freyotech finds a way to get back in. This Uber exchange comes out. Had to flash a couple times, but blue team did indeed use first, and it looks like, oh, the bot mode of the backline gets the kill on the B. It's going to make things a bit weaker for them to hold on to things long term, but Howard, not long for this world. Laz gets that kill, and even though they have some people dying on the back lines, they got the brunt of the kills of the G6 combo, and overall able to take mid relatively for free after the fact. And honestly, with these late deaths, they might be able to get a handle on a tube pretty freely.
Yeah, Freyotech putting themselves in a really great position. The late deaths for them, but Jay is over on one on snipe. He tries to go for the shot, not able to connect onto the medic. Laz is going to be able to take down Kobe actually over in upper IT, and that is going to be a very unnecessary death for like a G6. They don't have to worry about Freyotech coming in just quite yet. Hubada only has 70%, but we've already seen Freyotech just happy to take the space even before they have any type of real advantage. And it seems like they are going to be slow things down. They're not going to be going for anything too aggressive at the moment. Just wait till they have Uber. They're already walking in through 5.
Yep, just milking it in. No sniper. It was a double defense of a heavy and an engineer. They have the sniper now, but the Uber already popped in, trying to find a way on the Logan. He's in the shutter, so he will go ahead and reset if he needs to. We're trying to clear these Siggies off the point. One of the soldiers inside S, trying to find a way into Howard. Brass Beast up in play in heaven, mowing him down. He gets the kill onto Laz, and Brand Slam almost got kind of taken out there. Gets a nice pistol kill onto Kobe, though. Logan will collect that frag, and Hubada, last one left alive. He's kind of out of there, though, and the arrow onto Logan prevents them from really going and jumping in to catch him. So overall, Froyotech not finding too much luck there. They chased for kills, couldn't find any, turned around and decided to go for the point play instead, but had to spend too much time clearing stickies off the point. But Logan, he fell off. He's very dead, probably, or someone's dead. Or at least this Uber does indeed get forced out. They're going to go ahead and use it to save him, because 2 soldiers initiated in, not just the 1. And they will both give up their lives, and I mean, they get the force, but G6, you're happy to use an Uber and get 2 kills in return. You can just leave 1 on cap, except it's already capped. Just keep barreling forward and find a way to get the extra force out. At least get so much more room here on the mid to cap it up for yourselves. So instead of defending 2, they find themselves being able to defend mid. As Freyotech, they're going to get their forwards. It's only 30% out of there. They got to wait until they get it really before they can start burrowing in to find a way to get back into mid. But G6, they're buffed up. They're trying to find a way to hold on to it.
they're trying to. Freyotech making their way in. Nice opening pick from Habib onto Kobe. Freyotech just taking so much space almost immediately. G6, they have to back up. They can't really allow anyone else to fall. Logan finds one on the Laz, but the Uber coming in might be able to catch out. Logan does. Huge bomb from Habib to find that kill. Soapymeister up on the high ground, lands on Habib, but Patty gets the chase onto Howard. A few G6 players in the backlines over by Rollout. Soapymeister over by IT. They know about his whereabouts. He goes to bomb onto Patty. Doesn't even get the crater as Patty stands on the little lip above upper IT and stays alive. And that's going to be Froyotech taking mid, taking second, and in a good position to take last because they also have Uber advantage.
Yeah, a little on the chaotic side after getting the kills. Habib was a little bit lost and got caught out. Didn't realize his team went in the lobby, but they got a whole lot of more kills for getting inside there and leaving him to dry. So they find themselves in a pretty good spot. Giant Uberad. Once again, they have the double defense from Jay and Botmo. No sniper in case they decide to milk through 5 once again. And if they spot this, it could be pretty lethal. But they're setting up, look like they might just pop immediately through 4, and yeah, they're going to go straight towards the gun, trying to get it down first. So far, they tried to cross instead of doing the corner capping, and they're actually going to go for one of the soldiers over near by 5. They've been able to get the kill on the Sophie, so far they succeed in that strategy. They got to reload up, get this J Heavy out of the picture, double soldier bomb in, able to take him out. So much damage, and bot mode will eventually fall as well. Only 2 left alive, and G6 do not have enough in the tank here. Froyotech, classic push, going for kills, find them where they need to, and Howard gets pistoled down by Brand Slam. Froyotech will take the first round 1-0.
Froyotech just looking really, really good at the moment. The last push attempt they had, it did fail, but they were able to convert that one pretty well. So now we're going to be going on to the next mid and see what G6 are going to be able to do. Last time, both soldiers kind of baited IT a little bit. No one really went for it, but now Soapymeister immediately onto Habib. He does get the pick. Can Patty follow up? No, he doesn't go onto Logan. He was maybe thinking about it, and now it seems like Froyotech, they still want to fight this without their demo. They might find a pick onto Kobe, who's so weak. Nice from Baby to clean up on that damage, and now it still seems like G6 should be able to win this. It's all going to be Hubada, last one up as a... oh my, that was barely... Laz almost had the perfect rocket onto Howard. That was so close. But he stays alive. That's G6 winning the mid.
The pill is clutch. But Habib on Sniper wants to just snipe someone immediately. Decides not to. So gonna have to go ahead and set up traps. G6 in a pretty good spot. There's an engineer and a sniper being set up so far. Just the classic hold. Gotta set up the gun and prevent anyone from stealing it down early. Might get a shot into Jay. Not going to continue to peek though, doesn't want to, press his luck too much as the Uber has been gained from the side of G6 finally, as they find themselves trying to work their way into lower lobby. Slightly to be 4, you got the whole team there really, honestly, right under the gun. Actually the gun's getting moved, it's in the middle of getting rotated to the other side of the point, just getting built up, doesn't really have the HP too much. Patty will end up dying. The Stickies are dead, they got so much cap time, they brought Laz over, he's kind of juggled up, and he can't get out, he's just kind of caught, question mark? No, he's alive? G6, they fumbled their execution. I mean, they get the kill on a Brand Slam, but overall, this Uberad that was looking like it was going to be pretty good does not lead to too much here, and Kobe going to be the final kill over on the side of their spawn door, trying to go for a Hail Mary and will not succeed, and Froyotech, they hold on.
They do manage to hold on. I'm not sure how Laz was able to stay alive there, but bot mode is up on Sniper, and I think he has left the
he's in
spawn.
sewer.
Yeah, he's over in sewers, so he's just going to be looking over towards Choke to try and see if he can get the eyes. I think Banny might have spotted it, so
yeah,
they're just going to be taking their time, maybe just immediately bomb Habib in, but Howard is already at 90%, so they have to make all this distance up very quickly. They're getting in super deep. Laz, they find so many, actually, with this bomb. It's going to be well worth for Freyotech, but here comes Jay back through IT. They want to try and take this Uber in, but they're going to think better of it, especially with Kobe going down. It would have just been them two against the world, and even with Uber, that would have been a little bit too much for them to choose. So now they're going to have to back up all the way onto their last. They are going to have Uber to try and push out with, but pushing out of your last is always such a scary ordeal.
Yeah, a little on the sketchier side. Froyotech could go for some sort of back cap, or at least put a thorn on their side by distracting in some way, but they're going for it now. They have some people on last still. Patty is going to be able to go behind. Logan is going to get dropped. Habib at red HP, and it's fine for now. And this lobby little fight that's happening is not that bad for the side of Froyotech, despite losing their players, because it gives so much room for the rest of the team to just walk back in. 4v3 scenario. Soapy extremely weak. Same for Howard, and they're just walking straight in. He'll be able to get an arrow. Jay, off in no man's land, separated from the team, will end up dying, and Ben just sits on top of the point. And the small execution errors from the side of G6 will be to Froyotech's benefit. Just going in there, Really good play with the back cap attempt play, even though it doesn't actually succeed. Just the distracting part of it is enough to really seal the deal to allow them to walk back in, like I mentioned before. And they put another round on the board, 2-0 in their favor.
2-0 for Froyotech, looking really, really good at the moment. And G6, they gotta figure something out. Gonna be bombing into on who would be, but again, Sophie Meister does get the kill, is taken down almost immediately. Patty going in behind through the enemy team's sewer, should be caught out. They know about his location, but that's stop Froyotech from barreling forward, getting so much damage off. Oh my Laz over in the sky, and everyone's just falling. Unlike a G6, they lose their demos, they don't care. Bot mode and Howard trying to get out. The spoon attempt comes out. They're forcing them all the way back through 5. Bot mode goes down. Can Howard get over to the spawn door? He's got the ball, the bleed damage. He's not gonna make it. And Froyotech, they chase so deep for that kill. Jay on the sniper, he gets one on the brand slam, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think it matters. Froyotech, they win mid. They got big Uber advantage.
I mean, G6 play relatively normal when you get a trade like that. You know the only path for victory when the other team doesn't have a demo because your soldier killed him is to just go all out with the soldiers you have and just play it really fast. Because you play it slow, the other demo man's going to chew you up. But I think G6 expected the full send way sooner than it actually happened. They found themselves back up into the choke, expecting soldiers in the skybox, and because it took so long, Freyotech just end up taking a little bit of ground and make it that much easier to actually execute the all-in, just find them all towards the choke, especially with Patty off in the sewer area, making it that much easier to pull the trigger. And they find themselves off that patience in a pretty good spot here to go ahead and push in last. Gun immediately get taken down. They're shooting stickies off the point. They'll bring over Sophie. He jumps away, getting a little bit of cap time. Kobe coming in. They're trying to put him in the dirt. They're able to get that kill on him. Laz as well. The heavy is dead center into the point, trying to mow them all down and get the kill onto Laz, as previously mentioned. And they're all running away. 5v3 scenario. Still on the chase. Mind the sticky traps and upper. Logan jumps straight through him, trying to catch him out. Habita's already out, but you can't say it's the same for Brandsam and Habib, who will end up falling, and G6 almost wiped the field with them. Only the medic of Habita is able to survive the tail as they work their way out onto 2. And they have this they have this Uber to kind of walk in the mid relatively free. Just gotta be mindful of the sniper. Kobe did end up dying. Patty's hiding in their sewer. They're just gonna pop straight through. They want to catch kills.
They should be able to catch Laz and probably Patty in the backlines. Banny's still over in the fort spawn. He does backspawn now. Here comes Patty onto the Jay Hunpei. Is not going to be able to get the kill, but Freyotech already trying to re-peek just a little bit, but with both their soldiers down, I think they are going to back up. Even they are not going to be so crazy as to take this fight just quite yet. They don't have Uber, but they're very close to it. They're going to have around about 30% Uber advantage. Definitely doable, especially so if you are Freyotech. We've seen them take smaller Uber ads, already seen them take a 10% one, so a 30% is not out of the question. It seems like IT is going to be the name of the game. They should be able to get in pretty cleanly. The Uber has been used. They should be able to find both soldiers here. No, Kobe and Sophie both do manage to get out. That's going to be very good for G6 because they can just immediately come back in with their own Uber. Logan just bombing in sky high. Can he land? Oh my god, he gets on the Habita. Insane sticky damage from that man. They clean up the players in the backline. They're trying to get onto Howard. It's not going to happen. The last one is Brand Slam, and that is going to be G6 destroying the leapfrog scenario perfectly.
Yeah, it was funny, Banny turned around to shoot the stickies and didn't realize that right behind them in the choke is the blue team getting ready to pop straight through. And that sync from Logan was amazing, able to make sure at the very last second Habita was going to fall. There's not even really a defense here. They're kind of here. They can try, but there's too much cap time. They have too many players who just expend and didn't even need to use any to die to be able to have this work out in their favor. So G6 just keep the ball rolling and put themselves on the board, but it is still a 2-1 game in Froyotech's favor.
2-1 game, and before we get to the mid, what do you think G6 need to fix on the mids? Actually, we can take a little time to discuss it because it seems like we are in a pause. 2-1, G6 on the back foot, Freyotech leading at the moment, both in terms of this game and the series overall, because if you missed it, Freyotech won the previous map, Snakewater, 5-2, but these mids have been they've been okay, not the best for G6. What do you think they need to fix? Is it the mid specifically, or is it just like kind of like you said earlier, the little things, that kind of execution things that are taking them out of these kind of good opportunities to get ground and turning them in Freyotech's favor?
I think it mostly comes down to the soldiers for the most part, because it seems like in the times that Freyotech initiates in and is able to succeed, there aren't opportunities for G6 to be able to counter initiate, and that's been a thing that's you've kind of seen previously when we watched G6 play sometimes, and that's like a path to victory. And it's not a bad thing that Sophia is going in and getting the early kill on Habib, but you still have to keep track of where the opposing soldiers are as well, because now you don't have the ability to go in and straight for a double bomb. And even if you kind of read it, you have to have the timing down. I think everyone kind of knows, like I said before, when certain trades on the map happen, like a demo for soldier trade, or like someone goes in to sack for the medic, you kind of know that the other team's going to pull out some form of aggressive tactic. The key is the timing of it, because if you get the timing wrong, you just lose ground for free. So there's a little bit of tact to it, and if you don't have that down, you're just kind of, you know, giving up for free what you really shouldn't. So if they can be more greedy with it, they can find themselves in a better situation when they get these trades early like this. But so far, won't really happen as much. Kobe gets thwarted a whole lot, is alive for now. Sophie bombing in, put a lot of damage on the Hubada, but he's still going to live throughout it all, and one player down for the side of G6. And Kobe in a world of hurt means that, it's like I said, if these soldiers aren't able to really find success for G6, there's not really too much more to spiral down off of, and they just end up crumbling. It's Kobe, last one left alive, all in. Finds Patty, that's something at least, but overall Froyotech will reign supreme, giving up both their soldiers for the cap and the mid victory, find themselves on the opposing two.
Kobe hiding over in IT. I think Banny has spotted him, and he's just maybe try and force it out. Not going to be so lucky as to get the force out from Hubada. So that's just going to be a very late death, actually, from Kobe 1920. So G6 on the back foot both in terms of Uber and player disadvantage. Froyotech making their way into lobby. Great time to be popping in, and they are going to do so. Getting a, oh my god, he finds two there. Insane. It just juggles him perfectly. He stands on the point, and that is going to be the third round for Froyotech. And I wonder if that is where the pause happened. Maybe a little bit of a tactical pause coming out from G6 there, as they lost the first map. It seems like they're going to lose the second map too, just on the way things have been going.
It might have been a tech. It was a pause by bot mode though, so you never know. It could have been a tech. But at the end of the day, off to another mid. So far, we've seen tons of aggression from the side of Froyotech in general, and that last push was definitely a sign of it as well. Just going in straight in, using Uber immediately and right off the cuff, finding an opportunity to just land right where you need to. Power immediately in a world of hurt when the bomb rings out. Power, Laz just gets him all by himself, gives up his life for it, and they're trying to run forward now to get any kill they can. Branson a little bit alone, but shoots Bottom out of the back, didn't realize he was there. Kobe, way too weak to really achieve anything, and Soapy, I mean, he gets out some damage, but he wasn't too healthy himself, so overall, just selling out for Howard, who wasn't even able to get like a surf out. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he immediately saw the soldier and that's what kind of made things really bad, but Lash just 3-rocketed him, just killed him all by himself. No help, no double bomb, no nothing. Maybe Patty distracted a bit, but it was all him on the damage, and Hubada just completely safe. There's no sign of the G6 soldiers being able to achieve much in terms of counter initiation or anything along those lines, and with failing to prevent Laz from getting that kill, Freyotech, they could put themselves on the board once again, leading to a 4-1, depending on how they execute this. They're entering lobby now, going more towards the sides of 4. Habib jumping in, trying to find a gun, will not find it because it's on the opposing side of Last. So we're taking over this left-hand side and eventually get the gun dead. Moving the stickies is eventually the next step of the plan. Sophie bombing early, trying to get the kill onto Hubada, and he will succeed, so no kills available. Heavy out on the field, able to tank through it all. Laz extremely weak, going for one final bomb. Patty committing in, but
oh my god,
all the explosive classes. And Jay is the icing on the cake, will indeed be the ticket there. So Deep walks in, just go for the 2-pipe. Wait, he get this. He gets the 1, but that's it. That was his only play, and he got the 1, which is really, really spooky, but will not succeed. A little bit of a late death as well, and G6 will hold them last, work themselves out on the 2, and they're actually spawn camping 2, but they're kind of alone. Can't stay for too long. Kind of hurt them, but they can reset just a tad and be relatively fine. Kobe, in a world of hurt, it's fine for now. They're working their way through. IT getting some damage on Laz. He's fine for now, able to rocket himself to prevent the fall damage. And Brand Slam, surprise, you're on sniper, but there's a potential Uber coming from right here. Kobe sliding his way in, wants to find his way onto B off the Brand Slam death. He's popped up the air. His stick, he's unable to connect to be able to jump out. And Patty behind might be the final saving grace for them, but no, Jay able to thwart that. Gets the kill on him. And Bandy running forward off of the distraction. See if he can put Kobe backwards and give them some more room here as the 3 of Froyotech members are up against 6 right now. They have to vacate out of the lobby area while this cap is still going. able to buy some time for the respawners though. All 6 up for Froyotech in just a moment, but Hubba immediately dead. Brandon getting piped down his own. They gave up Jacob,
Oh
but a
my
nice
God.
air shot from Sophie, preventing Laz from committing onto his team. They're trying to get on the cap now, but they've kind of given a bit not more than they could shoot. Howard and bot mode did indeed back up while the rest of their explosive classes were still in the thick of it, but Sophie will at least escape with his life. After that kill into Hubba, they go for the safe route. They go for the ad. They're not going to go all in for the point just quite yet, and they will have an ample opportunity to go for a push.
This is the types of plays that G6 should be converting on. They've got uber advantage. They've got a lot of time to spot, do all the things that you should do to make this push as clean as possible. They're going to be making their way into lobby, getting everyone nice and buffed up. Jay is ready. Logan is ready. The uber comes in. They take down the sentry gun, rotating over onto the left side. Jay trying to play the point. Gets not that much cap time now. It's getting a lot more, actually. Forces the soldiers to bomb on top of it, but G6, they're not in position to take down these soldiers. Logan, Kobe, their soldiers have gone down instead. And now it's going to be bot mode. He's hiding over in upper IT party room. I've heard some people call it, but it's not going to be a party for him as he gets taken down. Nice rockets from Patty to clean him up, and that is going to be a point conversion miss for G6.
Yeah, with no Doman and down a scout as well. I mean, it's going to be kind of rough here. You have no scout pressure. It's really just Kobe. He wants to get one of the soldiers potentially, jump into the air. And he's not really finding an angle too much. He gets the kill on the Laz, might die himself. He gets ornamented as well, but it's not going to be that gets the kill. It's going to be Habib. Uber almost gained, not quite yet though.
Logan.
The nice pipe from Logan gets Hubba out of the pier. He drops.
He
to
drops.
the pipe. Was that just over the rock, I suppose? Either way, at the end of the day, just running forward. Banny is behind. This cap is almost converted in Froyotech's favor. Patty running forward, saying to be safe at the side of Branson, but it's a bit of a disconnect. Banny wasn't quite there in time. He shows himself, scatters him from across the map, and is inside sewer. Sophie trying to avoid him for now, doesn't want to end up fighting him all alone. And they're trying to get him now. Banny gets the 1 kill. Having the jukes puts a lot of hurt onto Sophie, makes it really difficult for them to continue to fight this. And meanwhile, they're having a trouble staying on 2. Jay, extremely good. This Uber is available. Hubba is getting piped down. Habib falling as well. Banny's still in the backline though, threatening this cap. They need to get this cap on 2 underway, and Kobe bombing in will indeed secure that frag. And they're maintaining themselves for the most part on 2 as well. They're only long for this world for so long though. Branson, 5 HP. They still on scout. They're kiting into enemy team's on. Patty gonna die to Kobe bombing in, but they might find themselves in the world hurt. Last respawn comes in, gets the kill into Howard, finds Logan. No, not quite yet. It's not there. The damage doesn't connect. Habib trying to stick at the point to buy time because respawn is coming in, but no heals available for the side of G6. They have to play this fast. Trying to take out Hubba. He surfs. He doesn't take the fall damage. Only Kobe left alive. The final rocket.
He gets
seals the deal though. Gets Hubba down into the grave once again. Bot mode running away to his respawn meta. They can fight this with heals, but Froyotech are getting the cap time underway.
They can fight it with heals, but it's versus Banny and Habib. We've seen them take this and actually win it too many times, but this is not going to be one of them. Banny goes down, Patty over on upper IT, doing a bit of damage, but taking a lot more. Gonna have to back up. Freyotech almost getting that 2nd point. G6, like you said, with heals, a very slight uber advantage as well, just trying to come in while they've got maybe the players and the space. It's going to be Patty bombing over towards 5, taking a lot of damage. Laz going to be taken out. That's going to be Branson levitated up. He gets 1, they gets another. Branson going huge at the moment. The cap is so close, they get it regardless. And
dude,
that is going to be G6 2-3.
I'm just watching Howard the entire time as he surfs up towards their nest alone, and like, oh, Howard's dead. He just exists for like almost 10 seconds. So they don't even do anything about him. I guess they're preoccupied on other players, but at the same time, this cap time was immense. And they're so focused on 5 that I guess the center of the map was, they kind of slept on it a bit, and that's enough cap time for G6 to really solidify things. I mean, Habib was blocking it with his body for a long while, but that's not the way you want to block it. Give me your domain for that. And that is a huge, huge pain long-term that Froyotech could not endure. They got to really put themselves back in the game here in this mid if they want to make sure they can keep a lead. As Sophie bombs in, able to immediately take out Hubba and Habib, giving up both their souls for it immediately. They're backing up on the side of G6. Bot mode's a little bit too deep, but they're kind of showing themselves a tad. They know that I think Banny went behind, so he's going to be able to show up at some point. They're going to get sandwiched. They need to go backwards and get rid of the one of the sides of the sandwich before it's too late. And the indecision bites them. They're able to get these final frags, but it's only Jay as the sole survivor of the mid. All 11 other players died, and honestly, they had that in the bag realistically, but hesitation really, really screwed them for something much greater. So now, despite losing the mid, Froyotech, they do have, I mean, they had a heal ad they could have used. I guess they don't want to. They're just going to go ahead and go for the Uber ad instead, which is fine. There is a sniper on the field. Kobe on sniper. He got the kill previously. Gonna go for another kill this time around as I mean, even though the ad is small, it probably doesn't matter because Froyotech had just been full sending it no matter what. I think most of this map, they've not really milked too much, spare maybe like a time into last where they try to be greedy. But regardless of whatever door they chose, they full send it, and the sniper reveal is going to solidify that even further should they try to go ahead and use this, and I feel like they probably will. Yeah, they're looking for it. 30% ad, pretty solid to use. They're through the choke. G6 have backed up to make sure they're safe, at least for now. Only at 80% roughly. Their soldiers are able to move in. They get a nice sticky kill onto Patty, though. So Sophie unable to really go for a force, and the kill on Banny as well is a real thorn in their side. I mean, they got through without milking, and honestly, Caster's Curse, the one time they try to milk through, they end up dropping players, and hey, maybe that's why they just pop through all the time anyway.
Yeah, I mean, their pops have been working pretty well, so unfortunately for them, milking is not fruitful. The G6 going to be over on second, capturing it up. Still going to be even Ubers, but now it's going to be a sniper v sniper. Kobe versus Brand Slam, two very feared snipers. As Kobe looks, he gets the better of Brand Slam right there. He's going to be rotating over towards two. Rollout to try and see if he can maybe go for a little bit of a riskier peek. He's got the traps there. Bot mode is going to meet the rockets from Patty. Logan taken down as well, so now G6 have to back up. That's going to be a very aggressive bomb coming in onto Howard. Doesn't get too much damage. It does force him back. Habib taking a lot of damage over in lobby. And it's Froyotech. They want to try and push out here. They're getting through. Patty is going to be able to just force out the Uber from Howard. No one was willing to block him, and even though Patty doesn't go for it, doesn't matter. Here comes Froyotech. Now they use their own Uber so much later. Howard is basically trapped in. He's trying to go for the melee kill over on last. Not going to happen as everyone else on Froyotech just clean house. It's only Logan, the last one left alive. He is just making his way back to IT as Froyotech capture up second. They're going to be getting on the mid.
There is... Oh, Spoon. Hello. What? He's going to die to fall damage, yeah. There was a huge miscommunication between Jay and Howard on not the Uber being taken. I think that was pretty clear by their positioning, but the door they were going to run through. So Jay runs through upper IT, and Howard's outside on top of the point, and he Ubers no one. They Ubered 0 players. They're trying to work their way in now while it's still off Uber. Logan going to get taken out of the picture. Howard extremely weak as well overall, giving up too many players here as the cap goes in Froyotech's favor. They got their whole team with them really for the most part, despite besides Laz, who just ended up dying. And Sophie tried to go for another Spoon timing. Isn't so lucky this time around. Ran out of juice for the most part, and that sort of just means there's even less reason for them to actually stay here on 2. In fact, this Uber available to be used by the side of Froyotech if they so desire. There is a sniper on the field, so they can't just go in without using, and yeah, they're gonna have to run forward, try to find any kill. There's a couple of dead people, so they're all gonna be pretty much in the spawn area. Gonna start corner capping this. Brand's taking some damage, end up dying to a rocket though. They're finally trying to block this. Final Hail Mary on to Howard. They are able to get that frag. Banny, last one left alive, spotted in 5, piped down by Logan, and I mean, they get the consolation prize on to Howard, but overall, I mean, they searched for kills that didn't really exist, and a little bit too slow there to actually go for the corner cap. Maybe because they didn't think of it because they had to finish the cap up on 2 as well. But overall, G6 appears victory. They find themselves on the 2. Heal this advantage, though, that Freyotech is looking to potentially use. They know not only is a 50% ad, but a moment where Howard isn't quite here to heal the people that would be spamming and defending too, but not big enough of advantage for them, which is honestly a bit surprising considering it's them. I feel like there's another universe where you would be expected for them to push that, but deciding not to this time around, perhaps because the game is so close. And there's still 5 minutes left until we infinite overtime, but the ball is very much still in Froyotech's court because of this ad. Even if they don't want to use it, G6 have to respect it because of how the game has gone so far, and allows them to just milk themselves in. Because you can see their positioning. Howard, already at 1, no sort of emphasis to bomb. They just took this for free, as if it was had nobody's name on it.
They did just take it to free, and now they're going to be able to write their own name on it. Sophie getting bombed over towards 5 is going to have to back up as Freyotech takes space over in lobby. Now, Ubers are even. They're not going to be able to take this point for free. At least you'd hope if you were a G6 fan as Patty comes in. Freyotech getting very aggressive over the flank. They launch Laz up. They are able to take him out. Everyone else on Freyotech going to be backing up Sophie Meister over towards Route. Maybe try to go for a flank of his own, but the thing's better of it is just opting to spam. Instead, gets met by Brand Slam, immediately melted with the close-range scattergun shot. Jay in behind is going to be in for a little bit of a 1v1 with Brand Slam. He thinks better of that, just backs up for the rest of his team as they go in over onto last. Banny is going to be trying to corner cap the point, forcing everyone back. Now finally the Uber comes up from Froyotech. He tries to take down the sentry gun as everyone else from Froyotech barreling in. Patty, Laz over on the high ground right now. This is looking a lot better for Froyotech, bombing around, and they get onto the point. Such a heads-up play from Froyotech. just rushing in behind through one while everyone was focused on lobby. They get in cleanly, such a late use, and they just played the point and they got the round.
Yeah, they knew that Soapy was just killed inside 2, and they knew that Jay was behind, so they could take the push knowing that there would only be 4 people there for the side of G6 defending, and it makes it really easy to get an initiate in to find a lot of room with their Uber. So overall, a lot of aggressive soldiers right off the bat to not really lead to too much. Soapy in his own IT. Patty behind, bombing through the choke. Howard does indeed surf towards the opposing team as they loop around and end up on the opposing side of the map for the side of Froyotech and G6. They got a couple players left in the tank. They're all going to bunker inside sewer though. And it's going to be really hard for the side of G6 to really get too many kills here. They're going to go ahead and start capping up the point. They've shown 2 of the players for the cap time. They don't know where Jay is. Got to be mindful of them. They're going to bust through now. They want to print the block, but oh, Jay, he tries to go for it. Is going to be thwarted. They get the kill on the Patty, but I mean, Froyotech, you're not going to be too mad here if you only lose 1, be able to kill 3. Bobo trying to finesse his way over on the hub, but gets a lot of damage. Be mindful, they're on the wrong side of the map. You could have Kobe coming like a speeding bullet, but no, denied by Vanny, taking him out. Hubba is A-OK, doesn't need to expend the Uber. No other players will fall. And with 4 dead on the side of G6, there's no room to hold 2 here. It's match point right now, and Froyotech have found a recipe to find a way to just get themselves in and maybe even just have a normal classic last push where they're going to seal the deal right here. They got to wait a little bit. There are some players rolling out. Brand Slam and Patty are on the way, so Bandy can't just lead the charge right now. It's going to give Howard a lot of room to make this much more slim of an ad. But Froyotech, they still have an ample opportunity to go. Habib's ready in lobby. He's waiting for his team. And all I got to do is pick a door, and they can seal the deal right here.
They're cutting it very, very close, and I think they might call it off considering that Howard already has. No, they're just going for it. They don't care. They're taking it 5% Uber at Howard. Now it has. They're going to try and corner cap. They take down the sensor gun. Here comes the Uber from Leica G6. Can they catch any of these Freyotech players? There is a soldier hiding up over in heaven. It's going to be Banny and Laz. They should both be taken down. Banny does get a trade off on the Kobe. He's coming back in. Almost gets on to Howard.
Nice arrow.
But that, yeah, nice arrow from Howard to be able to protect himself. And now everyone else in Freyotech are backing up. Patty is over in upright T. He actually gets the pick over on the Soapy Master. That's not going to stop G6, but it actually that pick onto Logan might stop G6. As now Froyotech are going to be very much more emboldened to try and fight. There's a big bomb coming in from Last. Tries to get on the bot mode over through IT. Not going to be able to find it, but does force everyone on G6 back. And Froyotech managing to hold on to second. And seems like they're already peaking 5 to maybe try and go for a sack.
Yeah, they're just going for a sack here, it looks like. I mean, they don't have all the respawners to go for a straight-out push as if they had player advantage. I mean, they're finding themselves some room at least. They get Laz into upper. They're getting some cap time, losing the players. Logan kind of alone. The air shot doesn't hit, though. And Froyotech, they've overstayed their welcome. The remaining players from G6 arrive. They're trying to get out through IT. Jay's already kind of here, though. And
the drop.
He did not see that coming. The drop comes through. Habib dying as well. Amazing play from the G6 scouts. And they're holding it down here. They get 2 back on top of things. They can actually block the spawns and prevent them from having a presence on mid at all, the respawning players on the side of Froyotech. Just Brand Slam Snipers is going to be the main thing that would prevent G6 from taking this relatively for free. I guess Patty's inside sewer as well, unspotted. That is a big thorn on their side as well. As he comes through, tries to find Logan, he jumps away, getting so much hurt onto Brand Slam, able to take him down. Still very aggressive though, no beam. Logan will die, maybe bot mode as well. 11 HP, barely surviving. Bandy trying to shotgun people from the forward spawn. Will not get too much more there, but the Uber is still intact despite losing the down man. It's a huge add too, so even though they lost 1, they gained 2 in terms of players. They get the cap underway to block the spawns, and they're just moving through IT and trying to milk this until they see him that close. Never mind, just kill him. Hubba unable to serve. Scatter down. Habib trying to get away. Maybe chased down by Day? No. Decides to go help with Patty, who's behind, gets that kill. Banny behind as well, fighting a 1v3, taken down. Laz tries to go in off the distraction, isn't able to reach Hubba or reach Howard, and Habib last one left alive. I mean, they get a little bit of time because the cap hasn't gone their way, but G6, they can really lock things down here and just secure this for free.
Yeah, this should be a round for like a G6. It
nice
had
trap.
to be some real heroics. I mean, that's one of them, but it's not going to be enough. Even Habib can't salvage that for his team. So it is going to be 3-4 for Froyotech, they only need one more round, and they're going to be able to have a free ticket in, well, not a free ticket, but a ticket into grand finals, a guaranteed one. G6, they need to win 2 more rounds and then a 3rd map, which would be Granary. So very exciting to see how it all plays out. Froyotech could end it here. Patty going to be going into the enemy team's IT for the meantime. No one chasing him as everyone else is instead. Oh my god! Amazing rocket from Kobe onto Hubba to clean him up, but can they keep everyone else alive? They're just going to be opting to get all the way out of mid onto 2nd instead. Going to be buffing everyone up. They're going to take the loss of the mid for the Uber advantage, and we'll have to see how that works out for them.
Yeah, playing it simple. I was a little bit confused at first because I was looking at the G6 side of the map. It's like, oh my god, how are so passive, and Logan's really getting hurt. But it became pretty clear. It's like, oh, he's like in the choke. They're just straight up leaving, and yeah, Hubba completely melted. Didn't really have a chance to do much there, and that kind of seals the deal for the mid. I mean, they get the point, but once again, huge asterisk to it where you're immediately on the back foot and could potentially lose it. Is the year's about to be gained by the side of G6. They have their flank over by the IT side. No one in sewer, but it doesn't look like anyone's really prepared to launch themselves through it. As they're gonna take some space now, trying to make sure they can get at least somewhat for free or maybe get a bunch of kills. But Patty will bomb in. Escape, kind of. He will eventually die. He's kind of caught, so yeah, they will indeed get that frag. And Manny took a lot of damage as well. Not quite enough to be able to seal the deal as he was beamed the whole time. But overall, just 1 kill for the Uber. Froyotech not too mad at that. Pretty much a leapfrog situation as they got to build up the rest of the Uber. G6 cap it all up, but now it's their turn to go ahead and be on the defensive.
Yep. Froyotech now the opportunity to come right back in with their own Uber. The leapfrog scenario at its core. Each team pushes in and is able to get the point, but not do enough to able to solidify their hold onto the point. As now Froyotech come in, being able to milk just a little bit, and now bomb in deep, super duper deep. Not going to be able to find anyone, and as is often the case, they should be able to re-push right back in like a G6 with their own Uber. Howard not dying there.
Yeah, Habib was not quite ready. That was definitely like a more spontaneous Uber where you walk in part way and eventually Uber, but he didn't have a sticky on the ground. He was Ubered putting a sticky on the ground, which gives so much more reaction time to leave. So you see immediately, Logan's Ubered, Lily bombs in. They get the kill on the Patty. So much on Banny once again. Around the corner he goes to barely live. And Habib escaped through IT as well, separated from his team. But just leapfrogs galore. Not really enough to seal the deal. These teams are... They're trying to walk in at least a little bit to see if, you know, obviously popping in right off the bat isn't short-term, leading to too much to their benefit. But eventually, push come to shove, the human factor will kick in, and someone will make a mistake. And you'll be able to capitalize on it. So now Froyotech in the driver's seat. They found themselves over by the choke, only leaving Patty passive or by the flank of IT. They're expecting some sort of flank shove potentially, and Brandsam is split off towards sewer to cover all their bases. They notice nothing's really happening, so they're going to begin to inch forward. As no one really pulled the trigger to go for the force, but Hubba just gets forced to spam from across the map. He gets his pack going from him as well, so he's going to end this Uber at like 50 HP. Jay will be the sacrificial lamb that gives up his life, and that will be the only pick that Froyotech gains. But Uber, available for G6, they're going to block this potentially. Logan, bombing in. Bandy able to surf the sticky. They sent 3 behind into IT though. Froyotech able to get the kill on the Soapy, and Patty is all the way behind. And Sewer wrapped around Klee as well. G6 are not in a good way. They're about to completely sandwich. Kobe's going to die. They find themselves, actually, they go through the one door that Froyotech were unable to flank through, and now Patty's going to end up dying. They're trying to go through and punish these scouts for the distraction that Patty made. Maybe onto Logan. Really pushed back, surfs the damage, but will get cleaned up. Brandon going to go give up his life for it, which you take every day of the week. And with no dome, man, the floodgates have kind of opened. Bot mode is split off a bit over towards the IT area to kind of make sure it's clean, and does see that there's no one there. All 4 spotted in front. Habib kind of off on his own. They might go ahead and go for bomb from him. They get the kill on the last burst, but bot mode and Jay and Soapy immediately cleaned up. It's a 4v3 in Froyotech's favor in enemy team territory. And so much room gained here. It's not looking too good for the side of G6. Back to last they go. Small ad for Froyotech, which they probably can't really use that easily. They can try. They're going to poke at least the bare minimum. But the respawn is already here, and the bandy kill kind of seals the deal. And that is a push called off. Gonna have to go for a more stalemate scenario, most likely, as maybe we'll see a bandy sniper. See it rarely, but it does happen.
Yeah, they could definitely do it. Fingers crossed if you are a Froyotech fan. Is Banny pretty deadly up on the class, but instead he is just going to be up on scout. Leave the off-classing to someone else on this team, as it might be Brandslam gets taken down, trying to get in through lower, trying to clear the traps. Here comes Soapy Meister bombing in, gets a onto the head of Banny up into the sky.
Oh,
Logan going down as well is not going to be good for Leica G6. That's going to be so much less spam blocking these doorways. Might find one onto Laz, over by 5, but Jay finds one on the Habib. That does stop the Uber. Comes out from both teams, first from Froyotech, then from G6. Banny gets cleaned up, and that is kind of a miracle headshot from Jay there, because otherwise that could have been a disaster for the rest of the team.
There's a very small window where they can actually begin to push out here. They have to be really fast and make sure they cover all their bases. With only 3 players on Froyotech left alive, they do have the room to do that. Didn't spot all of them, but Patty nowhere to be seen. It's kind of out already, so they don't have to deal with any last-minute soldier bombs or anything from upper IT or along those lines. So really great job from G6 to be able to use the players to push out there and get the Uber the last second and make sure they're able to hold it down. But Froyotech are positioned like they want to begin to poke and prod and maybe do some sort of disrespect push. The fact that Banny's this close wants to clear these stickies and maybe just walk straight into grass, but it's continually being blocked off, and Habib taking tons of damage as well means it's going to, if they really want to go for like a just straight up dry here, it's going to be a bit. They know they have ad, or at least it was ad kind of, but it's going to even things out for the most part. Trying to spot at least. How are they going to get in a more normal position here on top of the point, which means another respot is going to be needed for the plan to really work out very well. It seems like IT might be the play. They're kind of turning around like they're going to go for that angle, maybe get the kill onto Kobe, or at least make him back up and they can sneak someone through behind lobby, behind that way. But immediately taking a lot of damage. Patty will go ahead and sack. Lands on the floor, wind up dying. It's overall 2-man because Brandsam ran in as well. Something you see a lot from previous iterations of Froyotech. You don't see as much in this version of it, but it's still very much an on-brand strategy for them, just sending the 2 players in Sophie. And he goes in for the counter, but finds a buff to Beeb. Not really finding too much there. Bot mode tried to support, took a little bit of damage, able to shoot the sticky to get his way out of there. Kobe pressured non-stop in this IT area. On his last leg almost, but it's fine for now. And overall, the Brand Slam Sniper will be the new path to victory in Froyotech's eyes. It's going to take him for a sec to get there, but he has a minute or two to kind of, have things turn out in their favor. They're already making some noise inside sewer as well, so all of a sudden there's going to be a sniper in their face, and they might not expect this first shot. It could be extremely lethal.
Could indeed. He's over in sewer, just waiting for someone to open that shutter door. Who is it going to be as a... now he finally has an opportunity for maybe a shot onto Logan if he goes for the peek. They do know about him now because he's been trying to go for a couple shots at the meantime. So it's all going to be, how do G6 want to try and play this, as Patty is over in IT, gets spotted out from bot mode, should be able to get out. There's Logan actually on his case, and Bandy comes around to help his soldier escape out to safety. Patty not going to fall there as Branslin looks over towards the IT area, maybe see if he can get a cheeky pick on one of a flank player just trying to clear it, and is not going to find anything, so instead rotates over again towards sewer, has a opportunity for a body shot onto Kobe, and now it's going to be really just on the soldiers from G6 to make sure that they're bombing these doorways consistently, making sure that they don't allow Grand Slam to be able to have these opportunities.
Oh, he gets the kill on Howard! Immediately I'm moving over to look at the IT push, and immediately he gets the kill on Howard. The Uber comes through, Kobe's dead. What a catastrophe for G6. They were making the moves to try to go for a play to prevent the sniper from hitting shot after shot after shot. But it doesn't seem like he needed that many. Only Soapy and bot, never mind, not bot mode left alive, just Soapy. There's a skeleton crew of Howard and Jay there. I mean, Howard, Jay's not even on last. They're just gonna stand on top of it. It's a very simple round in Freyotech. They win the game 5-3. They take the second map and will be your first team to reach Grand Finals.
First team guaranteed in Grand Finals is Froyotech. It's only fitting after the undefeated season that they've had, undefeated in playoffs as well. So far, asterisks on that. We're gonna have to see if maybe someone tomorrow is gonna be able to try and deal some type of lasting blow to them. But otherwise, they've been playing really, really good, and it just seems like, kind of like you said, G6 just a few execution errors, not able to really contend with Froyotech at the moment.
Yep. I mean, they're, to be honest, put in a rough situation to begin with, considering all the things they had to deal with today. So, kind of curious what we'll see out of them tomorrow. If bot mode will be able to feel better tomorrow, or if Cap's internet will be a bit more stable and you see Caps instead of Jay. They will go to the lower bracket. It appears that Franz was the team to survive the lower bracket for now, and they will be the opponent. Oh, it was Jiminy? Never mind. Jiminy beat Franz. I misheard wrong from Dolphin. So Jiminy beat Franz. Franz got eliminated. My bad. So it'll be Jiminy as the opponent that they will have to knock out. And it'll be a bit of a challenge. They have fought them obviously before in the regular season and have come out on top, but Jiminy have been pretty strong as well in some of their showings, so sometimes all it takes is the right day and the stars align and you're able to turn things around. G6 did it to Franz J earlier today when they were able to get revenge on them for what happened in the regular season and send them down to the lowers. And who knows, maybe Jiminy has something in store for the side of G6 when they go down there. So it's all going to shake down tomorrow. At the end of tomorrow, we will be crowned a victor. I think, what's the default time? It's like, what, like 6 or something? Technically, the teams could reschedule like 30 minutes or an hour off. So I don't think things are cemented right this second. I would imagine things would be cemented in like the next 10 minutes or so. But for the most part, obviously, things are going to start earlier. For people that... Okay, the default right now is at 6:30 tomorrow EST. So for anyone that is like, oh no, time zones, it's like 5 hours before the time it is now. So like imagine tomorrow's time, but 5 hours before this. And then you're good to go. And that's the default for losers round 2, the semifinals. And then you go into the grands later in the night at like 10 or something probably. Depends on how long the finals last, I suppose. But should be hype.
Yeah, it should be very, very hype. I mean, we're guaranteed to see a Jiminy versus like a G6, which we haven't seen yet, so it's not going to be a rematch of something that we've seen earlier in playoffs. Very excited to see how those teams fare against each other in playoffs, but yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Do not miss it. We got another great day of TF2 action headed your way. I don't know if you have any final thoughts about anything that we've seen today, Jared.
No, I think for the most part, I'm pretty excited to see the semis. We've seen a lot of close matches, and whoever wins that is going to be up for a tough battle, but even then, I expect a pretty good grands. So overall, definitely don't want to miss tomorrow if you can help it. Other than that, nothing really else. I guess we go over to shoutouts at this point, because we're saving interviews probably to the very end when someone's crowned the victor tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're going to do. So yeah, quick shout-outs. Obviously, all the teams for playing. Without them, there'd be no match to cast. Shout-outs to all you guys for watching. Without you guys, there'd be no reason to cast in the first place. Or no one to cast to. Obviously, shout-outs to RGL for putting on the season, everything they do. Dolphin for all the production work he does behind the scenes. You, Jared, it's amazing cast with you this season and playoffs. Very excited for tomorrow. And obviously, the RGL merch, buy it, wear it, show up to land, plural in it, and some really great designs. Buy it before it goes away.
Yep, definitely shout out to all the teams who participated so far and will continue to participate tomorrow, and everyone who stayed to watch with us. I guess the only other plug really is there's the Highlander Newcomer Cup that's happening next month. So if you're trying to get into the game, and there's an X6's Experimental Cup as well. So if you're someone who's trying to get into competitive TF2 and you are like, oh, barrier entry, especially because it's community, it's like, oh, kind of scary. You can't just like hop into normal matchmaking type of stuff. I think it's May 3rd through 5th. Both the Highlander Newcomer Cup and the Sixes Experimental Cup is happening, which are, obviously one of them has newcomer literally in its name. So pretty welcoming. So if that's something you're interested in, then go ahead and think about signing up.
Definitely do that. Otherwise, that's going to be it for us tonight. Check back tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern for the lower bracket finals, and then after that for the grand finals. Otherwise, that's been it for us here at RGL. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye until then.